Hi, Dyslexic Genius here. Now that we got the oiling tubes in, I have to show you how to grease it. I'm doing a few things backwards, okay? So you would have greased this before you put the oiling tubes in, but I wanted to put it together. And then the last video, we have to put the covers in, so there's a couple of screws we have to remove and put everything back together. Very easy. To grease, I use green grease, and I use it on the spindle shaft here. And you see how I have grease on the inside of the threads of the spindle shaft? So when the motor's running, crank it up a little, you're not going to grease it all up. You're going to do this top point of the drive gear, and you're just going to dab green grease in here like this. You just take your little finger, and you're going to put it in the middle like that. And you're going to, till it gets, you see it all inside the spindle shaft here. What happens is all this grease is screwing up this way, which means if you start greasing here, all the grease will get up in here in the bottom of the bearing of the spindle shaft, and you don't want that. The other thing is, now that it's running and we have all the oiling tubes in, we don't see anything dragging. Then what I do is I mix green grease with some number 4 graphite and a pinch of STP. And I came in and I oiled the governor drive gear right here, because we have a steel gear and a brass gear. And I do this in all my videos, that I grease everything steel to brass or brass to steel, whatever you like. And I've done that. And then I put some on this bronze gear and in here on this part of the spiral gear that runs the tracking mechanism for the horn. On the motors, I use sewing machine oil. I use green grease for the spring barrel, green grease mixed with graphite and a little STP for the brass gears on the steel gears. And then I just make up a little tub like this. I put in a big glob of green grease. I put in some graphite flakes. I mix it all together. Then I put a pinch of STP in there to smooth it out. You want it kind of like frosting. Mrs. Genius loves frosting. It's got to be kind of like cake frosting. You know, smooth but not thick. The other thing we did on the motor is, you saw when I put this gear in through the spring barrel, I put STP in here. That's because this is a thick oil and nobody's ever going to lube this in here. And people will not remember that. Crank it up a minute. We gotta wait till it comes around. Oh, there it is. Nobody's gonna remember that there's an oiling hole on the spring barrel right here.
Right where?
Right here at the end of my screw. See that hole?
Yeah.
That lubes the shaft of the spring barrel, and everybody forgets about that.
So what oil do you put in there?
I put STP in there, but I'm gonna just put a little squirt of sewing machine oil in there. That'll smooth everything. But this never gets oiled on phonographs. On Victor's, it's all encased inside, and you'll never do it. And that's why I put the STP on. So the next thing we'll do is we will put on the covers in the next video, and then we'll flip it around and start installing this into the cabinet and working on the horn. And that's my tip for the day.